This video is on how to perform a reflection across a line. So we're going to reflect the figure A, B, C across this line here. To do this, you're going to need a compass and a straight edge. The first thing you're going to do is take your compass, you're going to put the point or the needle on your first point and open it up so you cross the line. I'm going to close mine a little because I'm really far. Once you're across the line, draw a small arc so it will go intersect the line twice. I'm not going to change my compass. I'm going to put on one intersection and draw a small arc opposite of A. Then move it to the other side of the arc where the intersection is and draw another small arc. Where this second and third arc intersect, that's A prime, or A reflected across the line. I'm going to repeat this process with each point, putting the needle or the pointy part of my compass on point B. My pencil reaches all the way across the line and drawing my arc so it has two intersection points. Keeping my compass opening the same, I go to one intersection, draw an arc opposite of B, go to the other intersection, and draw another arc. In this case, my arcs didn't intersect, so I'll come back to the first one and extend that arc so it does have the intersection. This one is point B, reflected across the line, or B prime. And then my third point, C. Again, the needle on the point, open my compass so it goes across the line, and draw an arc. Not changing the opening on my compass, I'm going to go to the one intersection point, draw a small arc, go to the other intersection point, and draw another arc. Where they intersect, where they cross, that's C prime. Now that I have all my points reflected, I can draw in my reflected triangle. Remember, this reflected triangle is what's called the image. The original figure is called the pre-image. Okay, so here's A prime, B prime, C prime. And we could color that in to make it very visible. I'll just outline it here to denote there's no question about which one is the reflected image. Now there's a couple properties about reflections that we should talk about. The first one is, it's actually a physics property, but reflections only happen across an object when they're perpendicular. If they're not perpendicular, it'll actually reflect back at an angle. So this segment I just drew in, A prime, it should be dashed, is going to be perpendicular to our line of reflection. Let's call this point of intersection D. I'm going to do that for all of my points. I'm going to connect B to his reflected point B prime and draw in a dashed line. Okay. And I use a dashed line because it's not actually part of the reflection, it's just showing properties. I'll call this point E, and then C and C prime. Okay. And I'm going to call this intersection point F. Okay. Now, as I mentioned and as I labeled here, all these dashed lines are perpendicular to our line of reflection. So we could write that segment B prime is perpendicular to the line E, F. B prime is perpendicular to our line of reflection. The same holds for A prime. It's perpendicular to our line E, F, as well as C prime being perpendicular to the line E, F. Another property of reflections is that whatever this distance is here, so the distance of C from the line of reflection, gets reflected the same distance on the other side. So we could say that CF, that line segment, would be congruent to FC prime, because reflections send a point the same distance to the other side. So the segment CF is congruent to the segment C prime F. Again, the point A is reflected to the other side. So AD, that segment, would be congruent to the segment A prime D. And then BE would be congruent to the segment E B prime. And because reflections preserve congruence, they're considered isometries, we can also say that each segment, when reflected, is congruent to itself as well. So this segment BC is congruent to the segment B prime C prime. The same is true for AB being congruent to A prime B prime. As well as AC being congruent to A prime C prime. And that's everything you're going to need to know for your reflections.